You know what we need to get this fucking thing started.
Yeah. That's cool.
I use it to charge my heart up. This is 136.10 heart frequency.
Yeah.
Let me put it right there.
No, after we've done Molly, I'm like, holy shit, I need to find that heart tuner thing.
Molly?
Yeah, because it's just, your heart is like womp, 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 and you just wanna make sure it stays aligned.
Get it aligned. We want to go talking to the people with unaligned hearts.
No, right? You look pretty cool, though. Our Halloween special.
Yeah. Is that what this is?
Why not? I mean, I think we just love these onesies, so why not wear them
Yeah, I wear this fucking thing all
and
the time.
celebrate them? Well, now that I got this onesie, I'm like, I know what I'm going to be for like the next 10 years for Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween's so stressful to me
Yeah.
because I'm like, oh, what am I going to be? And it's always like a last minute thing, and I'm not like the most, it's not where my creativity flourishes.
No, it does, but your creativity flourishes with it, and so does your mom's. But you guys don't you procrastinate it. Like even growing up, your mom was like, you were always making outfits like, the last minute with whatever you had around the house.
Yeah. No, last year though, I freaking nailed it because I just had this blazer that was like flowery and pink, and I was like, I'm never gonna wear this, so let me just like wear green pants, and I was kind of threw some flowers in my hair, and I'm like, I got this floral thing going on. And that seems to be like the vibe in Brooklyn is like, or like a lot of people, it's like, how do I look like I didn't try too hard, you know?
Yeah.
So I fucking nailed the like casual Halloween costume, and then we go out to this party back when you could go out to parties.
Yeah, that was really fun last Halloween. It was like 78 degrees.
Yeah, it was so cool.
Ridiculously nice. Like we had 10 people with us. We all took Molly.
So I walk into this place, and these 3 people come running up to me, and they're like, spring! And they're dressed like fall, winter, and summer, and they're like, we've been waiting for you. We've missed you. And they're like, our spring left. Can you take a photo with us? And I was like, wow, I really nailed Halloween this year.
What the fuck?
That was cool. Good
Yeah.
Halloweens.
What a weird situation.
Have you had some good Halloweens?
I think growing up, they were like my most anticipated holiday.
Why? Because you could be a bad boy?
Yeah. It was like pretty much like we didn't even dress up. I mean, I can't even remember what I would dress up as a kid. I don't think I did. Like from like after 9 years old, it was like cover yourself, make yourself warm, protect your eyes, and go out and fuck up the neighborhood like with shaving cream and eggs. And we would start it the night before. We would they call it like Devil's Night or something like that. And there'd be like 4 of us out there in the neighborhood just like fucking everything up.
Do you ever take like a baseball bat to someone's mailbox?
Hell no. No, not that kind of destruction. Not that we haven't done those kind of things, but that wasn't what it was all about. But then Halloween, like there was 100 kids in my neighborhood where I grew up.
Yeah.
Everyone was like in a 3-year age range of me and my sister, and we knew everybody. So like, it was just fucking total mayhem. We'd come home like covered in shaving cream and like just like fucked up, staying out all night, crazy. I don't know why. I just looked so much forward to that.
Yeah, I remember that when you started to like forget Halloween costumes, just throw on a like plastic bag.
Yeah.
Like a trash bag, a black trash bag.
Yeah. And go out there and fuck shit up.
Yeah. Mayhem.
Yeah. The first time I ever got drunk was actually Halloween, I think, or the day before.
Really?
Yeah.
Devil's Night?
Yeah, Devil's Night. You should put your headset on again so your hair looks beautiful. I don't want you editing this being like, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, I want to rock the sloth costume and like really live it up, but it's a little warm. So you went, that was the first, wait, you were like 21, right, when you first got drunk?
I was 20. Yeah, I was 20. And I like was against drinking for sure. I was like very much against drinking from when I was like 12 years old. I like had an aversion to it. Because like my parents didn't drink and my dad was in AA. And I hadn't really even ever seen them drink. It's not like, I never saw my dad drunk. I
Right.
still haven't. You know, they weren't like that, but my dad was like fucked up on other shit, and there was just so much alcoholism in our family, and I just was like, I'm too young. I was like kind of innocent, and I wanted to maintain my innocence. So I was against it. I remember one of our close friends started drinking when we were like 12 years old. Like he had lost his mom in 4th grade. And then like a few years later, he was just like medicating. He was just doing everything, and it was like so scary and intimidating, and I didn't understand. So like I just told him I couldn't be friends with him anymore. Yeah, it was sad. I wouldn't do that now, but yeah, I couldn't be friends with this dude anymore, and I was just like really against it. Never drank in high school, never drank most of college, and then I don't know. My girlfriend was 21, and I was just like, I'll drink, fuck it, I'll try it. And we went up to the cemetery across the street from my parents' house, and I drank one Old English 40 ounce, and I was lost in the sauce. Dude. God, it was like, it was kind of like any drug experience, you know, when you first, I hadn't really altered my consciousness in any way.
Yeah.
Ever before that. I'd never been high. I'd never tried anything like that. And it was fucking wild. I remember just like falling and like jumping into these huge piles of leaves that were everywhere in the cemetery. And then we went up to the deli where I worked, and I was just like wasted, like trying to make a sandwich behind the counter. And then like the guys at work like threw me in the fucking trash can. I was trashed. I was fucking trashed. I couldn't believe it though. It was fun. It started up the habit for sure.
Yeah, like when I met you in the 20s, you're like a shot of whiskey and a Budweiser every time you went to the bar.
Oh yeah, I would walk into our local bar and like first shot and beer is on the house because they know I'm gonna be in there hanging out. It's not like I was like a drunk guy or anything like that. I just was down to drink.
You appreciated the realm though.
Yeah, very much so.
What, did that lose its zest?
I don't know. I spent my 20s drinking for sure, and then like I spent my whole 30s on psychedelics and pot.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I relate to you about is that like enjoying being my age. You know, like a lot of people want to be older or like want to like, you know, certain things, and I was always like, this is cool being like 12 or 16 or, you know. And I still feel that way. I feel like you and I get to relate on like a deep appreciation for where we're at.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like that's the way to be, and it feels like the only way to be, you know, because rather than be like, oh man, wish we were the people who like, you know, whatever's next in our life, like slowing down or, you know, just being like, all right, this is an impermanent state, and let's enjoy it for all that it's worth.
Yeah. I think both of our moms instilled that in us. And I remember thinking that was unique to my mom. Like her always telling us like, you're young, just be young, you know?
Yeah.
Be young now. You know, you're 14. You don't need to try to come off like you're fucking 24. Because there's a lot of people that do. At that, like, you know, there's a divide starts happening at a certain age.
Yeah. My mom always said, be young, have fun. Like to the point where she was like a little disappointed in me that I was like kind of lame. You know, but
Students Against Destructive Decisions. Yeah.
Yeah, the president of Students Against Destructive Decisions. I was a knitter. She's like, you know, Cass, you could have like loosen up a little. And like little did she know, I'm like, I'll have my time, Mom. I'll have my time.
Now she can't even handle listening to us talk about our life half the time.
Yeah, she's like, I don't need to hear about that.
She's like, oh God, this is too much. I can't hear about
like,
this.
Glad you guys are having fun, but leave me out of it.
But I think that they helped us, both of our moms, like not, because I'm still like this. I never want to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know if
except on Halloween.
On Halloween, yeah. But I mean, am I not a skeleton all the time?
Yeah, you're just kind of like bringing.
It's just usually covered.
What's hidden to the surface.
Yeah.
And am I not a sloth? You
fucking definitely are.
Yeah, I'm straight sloth. Yeah, no, I agree. You know, I think you told me this a while ago, or just kind of like life is like you're playing cards. You might as well like play your hand the best you got. You know, not judge the cards, just play it well.
Yeah.
And that kind of sticks with me, you know, because you can really just get into like acceptance and be like, oh, I could just be creative with what my next move is rather than judging, you know, the options for moves that I have, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I, it's not like I don't get discontent, but like in a weird way, I've never like I look up to people, but like I'm not as susceptible to that. I don't think. I think of a lot of people like they're my peers or like that's cool what they're doing, but I never met someone who I'm like, that's what I need to be like. I need to be more like that or anything. I just always wanted to be more like myself.
Yeah, I mean, people can illustrate like the path forward, like, oh, you can live in the deep end, or oh, you can have fun into your 40s, or oh, maybe life is more fun. Maybe you can be like, Seth Rogen didn't have kids and now he's like devoting himself to pottery, and I'm like, that's like what's up, There's these people who hold space and saying, hey, I'm gonna do it a little differently, and I'm gonna have fun doing it a little differently, and you're like, oh, okay, it like gives you the sense of what the options and possibilities are. But yeah, I agree. No one could like tell you how to do it or what to do. You don't need anyone to like approve
No, it just doesn't
you.
apply.
Yeah.
It doesn't apply. We were watching this thing last night. It's fucking terrible. God, it's so stupid. This series called The Vow on HBO. So many people had recommended it. We were like, let's check it out. This fucking thing is 9 episodes.
Really drawn out.
Yeah, it's really tedious and really drawn out. We only watched the first 2 episodes, but basically, like, this charismatic guy just was able to dupe all these people into being in a cult.
Yeah.
And I'm just like looking at all the people that he duped, and I'm like, they all have this thing in common where they think that somebody else has something that they don't.
Right.
And I don't know, maybe that's part of our spiritual work or whatever, but I feel less susceptible to those kind of things.
The thing is, it's so funny because I want someone to have what I don't have. Like, I want someone to have all the answers for me, but like, I had to really realize that like no one else has all the answers, and everyone's pretty much has their own flaws, And so it's like, as much as I wish someone could tell me what's going on, like no one can.
Oh yeah.
They can like decorate the realm with pretty words and pretty ideas and interesting thoughts about what they think is going on, or maybe help tap you into like a deeper way of being or feeling, or connect you with this idea of past lives, and like that's all legitimate. But the truth is, like, no one knows what the fuck is going on, so there's no one that you like could or should give your power away to, and so
you used to try to do it with me.
Give you my power?
Think I knew what was going on.
Yeah.
I remember, especially early on when we first started taking LSD, like you looking at me like, please just fucking tell me what's going on.
Yeah, right.
I'm like, nobody knows. I don't know. I think nobody really knows what the hell's going on.
Oh God, the worst is like when you're in a room with a bunch of people and you're like, they all know and they're not telling me, and I don't know, and why do they know, and why is everyone so chill with knowing, and I don't know. And then it's like finally getting to the place of like, oh, it's cool to not know, and like the more I learn, the more I realize how far I am from knowing. So it's like becomes like a deep knowing with a capital K, where you're like, oh, I just know that I don't know. This sounds so stupid. It sounds so like the words are meaningless, but I've been reading like The Way of the Tao lately, and it's a lot of words that kind of flow together to like to highlight the power of the nothingness and the everythingness.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we were going with all this.
Well, I
don't give away your power, people.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy way to get fucking lost in the sauce. I feel like I'm a little lost in the sauce right now.
Lately?
Yeah, but it's cool. It's cool. I'm embracing it.
What does lost in the sauce mean to you?
I don't know. It just kind of, that's what it means. It's just like, I don't really know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what are you up to? I don't really know.
A little lost in the sauce.
Yeah. And it's funny because I feel like there's all this capitalist programming where you start to question your productivity and start thinking way further out into your life than you have any business doing.
Right.
And so like just imagining, like, have I not set myself up right? Like, fucking shit, man. I'm going to turn 40 next year. Like, I don't fucking own anything. I've just made a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And it's like, what do you do next? What's the next move? And it feels like we've definitely been living in a period of indulgence in our life.
Yeah,
And when you
yeah.
do that for any extended amount of time, I feel like that's when I start, like, literally the term I'm lost in the sauce will come through my head, like, and it's cool. It's all cool. I'm not judging it.
No, I think we're in the stew. We're in this like cosmic slop stew, and like new ingredients keep coming into the mix.
Ooh, that's good.
And you're like, all right,
Yeah.
well, I guess now we're a new kind of stew or a new kind of soup.
Yeah,
And
like, how do I work with this?
yeah, and it's like a kind of hard to like I have identity or like larger identity
Mm-hmm.
when you're kind of lost in the sauce, and especially when new ingredients are coming in,
Yeah.
you're riding new waves, or you're meeting new people, or new circumstances or situations are arising, and then you're like, all right, like I don't proactive might not be the most prominent characteristic of our of our reality right now.
No. I mean, I think what I've realized, and I think this applies to you too, is the most important thing to me in this pass through in this incarnation as Sean is people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I care about people so much, and I want to meet so many people, and I want to have meaningful interactions with them. And I want them to leave an impression on me, and I want to leave an impression on them. So I think what we've been really good about lately is knowing that there's a lot of new ingredients and new people coming our way, and holding space for being able to arrive at the beginnings of those relationships without a bunch of baggage from other ones.
Mm-hmm.
And just treating people, building a solid foundation with people, not trying to use my foundation that I have with other people on new beings, and just like really settling and starting over. And like, we'll even do it. It's like, if we're going to meet somebody, we'll just sit down before we meet them and just say a prayer. We do this with everything, but I think it's very special to do it with new people, because who knows how long that relationship's going to last.
Mm-hmm.
This could be a new lifelong friend. This could be somebody that 40 years from now you're like, do you remember the day we met? So I really want to show up for those moments.
Yeah, you're really good at that too. You're really good at charging a new relationship up by like making the first hang like magical and ritualistic, of like, oh, this is like the first beginning of like us knowing each other for like 15 years. And why not say that kind of thing? Why not? And it's so funny because we're actually, know what I just realized? It's 11-year anniversary pretty much to the day from when we first met.
Oh, yeah.
Because we met right before Halloween. And we like made a commitment to be friends for 10 years. And
that was like silly flirting at the time.
Yeah, but like silly flirting, like with I mean, we do this not with just like potential lover. You do it with like good friends. Like I remember when we met Daniel, it was like, whoa, you're our brother, man. Like,
yeah,
we're gonna be friends for a long time. And that's why like when you do that with a relationship, you can allow the relationship to like come in and out of your life, because you've established such a strong foundation of like mutual recognition. I mean, you don't even establish mutual recognition. Just mutual recognition is just there with some relationships, you know? Anyway, and I think that's what we had when we first met, where we like just recognized each other and had like not only similar interests, but like a similar way of being and wanting to be. And I guess that's what falling in love is. And so like we just like fell immediately in love.
Oh, totally. It was like I was with my friends that night, and we were all at the bar, and like we all speak the same language, but then I met you, and then all of a sudden I've met somebody like that. It felt like you speak my dialect. Like there's like very like, whoa, you hear me, I hear you, we get each other. Like this is sacred. This feels outside of some of those other things.
Yeah.
Yeah. 11 years. What the fuck? And I'm not even bullshitting. I like have a bigger crush on you now than ever.
Yeah, same. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
No, I like you more than ever.
Talk about lost in the sauce.
Yeah.
I don't know how to get out of it. We live together.
No,
I wake up and I'm high.
No.
I'm like, whoa. I'm with this person that I respect so much, that I love so much, that like is the wind in my sails in so many ways, that it can feel like, not even it can feel like, it is like nothing else in our life really matters.
Well, that's where like
as much.
Yeah, that's where like love is a drug, and I'm just like unapologetically addicted to this drug of, you know, I mean, I think what we all want to attain for ourselves is like a sense of calm, peace, and like love, you know, and feeling in love with everything, but you're like, relationship is like the shortcut to that because someone else like opens this window where you have like rose-colored glasses together. And, you know, I know that that's what it's like when I'm with you. And I know that in some ways, it probably stops me from like getting it for myself because I'm like codependent on you helping me be in that space, you know, and enjoying life. And I enjoy life so much more with you than without you. But
I don't think that's anything to feel bad about or weird.
yeah,
I don't think that's anything
I don't want
to pathologize. That's what that's what we do here.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything that is like human and loving and all that stuff, we pathologize that because it ain't gonna feed the capitalist machine. So, you know, codependency is something that's talked about as a negative thing, like what you need somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
very much so, very much so. I need somebody. I need a lot of people to get through this. Isn't that what we're here doing?
Yeah, it's so funny. I was just talking to Gail yesterday about codependency and kind of just being like,
Gail, our host from Space Camp.
Yeah, a few episodes back, and kind of just we were both articulating finding that place of like, yeah, we shouldn't apologize for like the depth of relationship we have with our partner, you know, and that it's a gift and that it is an opportunity to kind of explore that space. And yeah, I'd be a totally different person if I was doing it on my own, and it wouldn't necessarily be better or worse, but like this is the path I'm choosing on this go round, and I'm just trying to make it the best path, you know. And I think with us, I just was remembering this morning that there used to be times where we had to like agree to a 1-minute hug every day, you know. We had to like prioritize connecting and physical connection, and because, you know, we were lost in the sauce of other things, you know, work or movies or whatever it is, and we would kind of like get a little frayed. And when we started saying, all right, let's like have 1-minute hug a day, or call for, and either one of us could call for like a 1-minute hug.
Yeah.
It's like we almost we reprogrammed ourselves.
Oh yeah.
That was like a deep programming that we did.
Yeah.
Where we're like, okay, we're gonna hug and like hold on to each other. And it got to a place obviously where it's like, I don't know. I don't remember the last time either one of us needed to call for a 1-minute hug because we've so, you know.
We have sex for an hour every day before we leave the room.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like a long hug. That's its own long hug. Yeah, but if you're not having sex with your partner, or you're not able to because of other circumstances that are going on, it's just a reminder of how important like physical touch is, and how even within relationship you can like get separate from the physical touch and the petting and all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, talking to friends who have like dead bedrooms. That's it. Like it shocks me when you hear about like somebody staying in a relationship like that. At this point, it shocks me.
Well, I think both of us wouldn't.
No, and I have. That's the thing. Like, I feel like it's a tricky thing because your destiny is kind of constantly trying to crystallize in life. But I feel like if you see it doing that, and that's something that you're not digging necessarily about yourself, you can do something about it. Like I was in 2 relationships before this that covered 14 years of my life. Right. So like I was in 2 7-year relationships right before this. Like my destiny was starting to crystallize into like half-ass boyfriend territory, where I don't really care about the relationship as much as my good time, all these things. And yeah, my destiny was crystallizing a little bit. Then I met you, and that's happened many times in our relationship, where it starts to crystallize a little bit. And it's like, oh no, maybe that's not where we want to be going. Like let's cast some spells to loosen that up. Let's be more intentional.
Yeah, it's so funny because one of the things that would always be kind of like, it's like a blessing, but it was so frustrating for so long, is because you had such serious relationships, you could see the warning signs within our relationship like way before it was like an issue.
Yeah.
So you'd be like starting to be like a little brat if we like went a couple days without being intimate, and I'm just like, dude, chill. And you're like, no, but this is really important. And I was like, okay, I'll make it really important too. And honestly, it's like my favorite thing about our relationship is that like our physical intimacy is like the top priority, and that you even had to like at times throw like a little bit of a I'm not trying to call you out because
No,
I'm trying
I
to say
don't.
like deep appreciation like you have
No, I
in
had
our
to say,
relationship, like
this should be important.
yeah, and throwing like a little bit of a shit fit, like what the fuck, like are we not going to connect in this way? And like I want to connect with you. And it's so funny because I think that we're so precious in relationships, and I think a lot of people are so precious around their partner, like, oh, I should let them have space from not wanting to have sex, and I should let them, you know, if they're not into it, and let them come around. But you really, in some ways, I'm gonna talk off maybe out of turn, but I think you should put fucking pressure on your partner, because there are days, like especially as a woman, where I could easily go months, weeks without like activating my sexuality, and that it is something that like needs to be activated. And there are days that I'm not interested in having sex, but by the
Same
time
here.
but by the time when you say like, oh, we pretty much have sex every day, even if I don't want to have sex, by the time I'm having sex, I'm loving it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because there's
It's like Molly, you never regret taking it once
you
you
never
take
regret it. Yeah. So it's like, you like, okay, in order for us to get to a place where we're having sex, there will need to be like a true amount of foreplay and like rising with each other to that level of being able to connect in that way, even if it's like not on your radar and you're thinking about a million other things.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, I don't know. I guess I'm just talking. I feel like there's someone out there who is like thinks that they're like not a sexual person or their partner's not sexual, and it's like, no, they are. Just be patient with them and help them get to that level, and like you could probably be having sex every day. If you like are willing to do the things that we've done in our relationship, is like go through the discomfort, have the discomfortable conversation, and say like this is what's important, and then say I will do anything to make this relationship work, and I'll do anything for my partner. And that's not a bad thing.
Oh, that's commitment.
That's like deep commitment.
That's like where it's really, truly commitment, where you're like, I'm more committed to this other thing than I am to my own priorities.
Yeah.
I think that's what's been so cool about this relationship. And like, I feel like that's why this one very quickly, right out of the gate, transcended some of the other relationships I had had.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where those just felt like warm up for this, for me being a real adult who's actually able to communicate, who, if my needs aren't being met, I'm not going to go start cheating. We're going to fucking talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank God my needs weren't being met in my previous relationship, because then we found each other.
Yeah, right? Some blessings in that.
Yeah.
Now your main mistress is tobacco.
Yeah, geez. You know what I'm fucking on now is these fuckers. I don't even want to promote this product.
Don't promote them.
Zyn Cool Mint 15 nicotine pouches.
And I got those for you, what, yesterday or the day before yesterday?
You got these for me a few days ago.
How many are left?
3. Whatever.
I take them, and I've done it like, 4 times, and it just gives me like the worst head rush, and I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Am I trying to get a nicotine addiction? Like, am I gonna just keep taking nicotine until I like need it?
It's so funny because our homegirl Margot was just in town. Shout out to Margot.
Yeah.
Magical fucking weekend. We had such a fucking good time.
Yeah, really funny time.
And like her and I are on the spliff train together, and it's fucking great. I love, I love having when someone shows up and they're like, "Yeah, I'm smoking spliffs." I'm like, "I'm with you."
Yeah.
So rolling a little tobacco in there. But then it's so funny. At one point, you came out, and her and I are talking about how we grew up with our parents smoking around us all the time. Like my dad and her dad just smoking. They smoked around us. And we're like complaining about it, how inappropriate it was, how kind of crazy that is. And we're just smoking ourselves. And you're like, you two are following their pattern. You're doing the same thing. And I'm like, God, in a million years, fuck drinking, fuck drugs, all that stuff. I never thought I'd be the type of person that would have any relationship with tobacco or nicotine.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
I didn't understand it. I saw my dad addicted. He still is. And I just never understood like the amount of pain that his body's in because of it, why he would keep doing it.
And so it's one of the things that kids judge the most, like their parents. Like it feels like every time you see your parents smoking, they're like literally killing themselves.
Yeah, you get so scared.
Yeah. And then
I was scared shitless when I was a kid that my dad was going to die of a heart attack because his dad died of a heart attack at 49.
Yeah.
Lifelong smoker. And just fucking had a heart attack and dropped dead at 49 when I was 6 months old.
Crazy.
So like, you know, my whole life, I'm like looking at my dad. I'm like, yeah, someday he's just gonna fucking drop dead of a goddamn heart attack. That would be the easy way out for the way this motherfucker's treated himself.
Right.
And that's what I keep telling him. And I guess I gotta start telling myself that.
Yo, I'm so suspicious. So what is it called? Suspicious? No, not. What is it when you like? I'll tell you what I'm thinking.
Suspect?
No, not suspicious. Superstitious. Because I was thinking about that the other day, and I had a friend recently. Her dad passed like when her son's like 2 years old or whatever, and I was like, wow, there's this thing that happens where like your dad will see like their grandson. Like I feel like this is a pretty common occurrence where a grandparent goes out around the time that a new birth comes in.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it just happens because of the time. But there's part of me that's like, yo, we can't have a kid. You know what I mean? Because I'm like, what if that's when Jack goes out and it's like we like allow this thing to like. I don't want to like keep it moving. Like I'm like, I like this. Like I like that your dad is alive. I like that our parents are alive. Like I don't want to like bring in the next generation too soon. Like we're not ready to say goodbye. Like
Yeah, I think about that all the time. We were just up at my parents yesterday, and I'm like, God, I'm so glad they're alive.
Yeah.
And that they're together. And despite all their problems, like I get so much from being around them, despite the insanity and the yelling and screaming about Trump and all this stuff. Like. There's just such love and support coming from there that I'm like sponging that up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, while we're still on this plane of reality together.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very important thing.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm so superstitious. I don't really have a lot of reasons to be superstitious. I don't really have a lot of things in my life.
Look, they're gonna die.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. It's crazy to think. Because it's like you were saying about impermanence. It's a hard thing to wrap your head around. Pretty much until death comes ripping. And when it does, you realize what impermanence is all about. And it'll give you a little boost. When my sister died, it gave me a major boost. I didn't even realize it wasn't even a conscious thing. It was just a boost of like, yo, we're not promised a fucking damn thing here. That was... in terms of fairness, completely unfair that Aaron only got to live 15 years. Now, who knows how long I get to live? It's unfair that my grandfather fucking died when he was 49.
Yeah.
He only knew me till I was 6 months old. He didn't get to know the rest of his grandchildren. It's unfair. It's just, it seems, it's a reminder. When death comes ripping, you wake up a little bit when you're close to it, especially. You wake up a little. You see our friends that have lost their fathers.
Yeah.
They're all different.
Yeah.
In a good way.
Change them. Yeah.
In a good way. It changed them. A part of their ego dissolved.
That's what it feels like at its best. Beyond like getting to dress up at its best, Halloween, kind of like Day of the Dead, in Mexico is this like celebration and kind of like staring at the darkness and staring at the shadow and staring at like you're in your skeleton outfit. It like a lot of the costumes are like Grim Reapers and shit like that. Like a lot of Halloween is kind of like a celebration of like the blood and the gore and the murder and all the scary
stuff we're kind of in avoidance of all the time, even though it's going on all around us.
Yeah. So at its best, if you can tap into that at Halloween, is as this idea that there is kind of this dark day that allows for the brightness of other days,
Oh, that's a good way of looking at it. I want every day to feel like Halloween.
In what way?
In like when I talk about psychedelic socialism. Psycholytics. Where psychedelics and politics meet. Fucking where that feeling of freedom, that feeling of like there's a little spark in the air. There's spirit. Spirit is being brought into this. You know how that feels? Like how everybody's having a good fucking time and everyone's having a laugh, and it's hard to get to on your fucking bullshit on Halloween.
Totally.
Like every day should feel like that. This like celebration. People are dressing up. People are being creative. People are partying. People are connecting.
Yeah, psychedelics. I never wanted to really dress up as a kid, you know, because I never really cared. Like, I just wanted to, like, kind of blend in, you know? Like,
Mm-hmm.
wear
Me
jeans
too.
and a
Me
sweatshirt,
too.
like, pretty much every day.
Yeah.
But now that I've come to, like, with psychedelics, come to, like, a better appreciation of, like, my individual fingerprint, you know, aurically,
Yeah.
energetically. And it's kind of made me be like, oh, well, I, like, don't necessarily want to dress up to be someone else, but I want to be the most colorful version of myself.
And then why not do that every day?
Yeah. Well, I've started wearing a lot more color.
Yeah, but you've
You know?
also started to, your spirit has.
Yeah.
And I think people that listen to this podcast for a long time could feel that.
Yeah. Like a letting go of like being self-conscious or being
Yeah.
fearful of what that means, because
Yeah.
I like can recognize how divine and special God is. And so I recognize that like it would be the biggest disservice to not recognize it in myself and to judge myself or to be embarrassed about who I am. So, yeah, but that makes me like want every day to be like Halloween and be like, oh fuck, like I want. I mean,
Fearless.
if I could keep it up, I'd have rainbow hair, you know, or you know.
Yeah. Live every day with the fearlessness of Halloween. Because like Halloween is usually associated with putting masks on.
Yeah, but I think when you realize that everyone's wearing a mask, you can have more fun with, you know, how you present yours. Like no makeup or not, you're wearing a mask. So why not have a more interesting mask? Why not have a more colorful mask? Why not have fun with what your mask looks like or how you present your mask?
That's what I always feel like when like somebody's really interesting but they're not good at like telling stories or something, you know? I'm like, decorate this shit. You have a fucking interesting life. You're telling an interesting story with no gusto whatsoever. Like fucking crack some pepper on that motherfucker. Like let's spice this shit up.
Yeah.
Come on. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. I at least when I'm telling stories and stuff, I at least try to get into it a little bit.
Yeah.
Some people put me to shame. We were sitting around the campfire with my cousin the other night, who we need to have on this podcast.
Yeah,
my
I know.
best friend, my whole life, my cousin Jesse. He was like a brother to me. He is like a brother to me. That motherfucker can tell a story.
Yeah, he's done some weird things in his life, and
He's done some crazy shit.
Yeah.
But like he's worked a straight job this whole time, and he's done some crazy shit. And I don't even know if he can talk about a lot of the stuff on the podcast.
But he's like one of those guys who like wants to make life interesting for himself, and every once in a while you get a glimpse of like the little things he's done to make life funny for himself.
Oh yeah.
And you're
God.
like, dude, man, you did that like however many years ago, and you're just telling, like, he doesn't do stuff for the story.
No, he's just living his life. Sometimes the stories can't come out till way after.
Yeah, and you're like, what are you doing? Like, you weren't doing that for anyone. Like, it's almost like a compulsion. Like, he has like a, maybe because of the way he was raised, or like a compulsive behavior to like do something that is like so crazy that everyone else would be like, what are you doing, man?
Yeah, he steals shit.
Yeah.
He, you know, that like a lot of the stories come back to that,
Yeah.
like being a klepto.
Yeah.
And that is like a fucking lifestyle. Like a lot of people can't relate with. A lot of people can't relate with.
No, I can't relate with it at all.
Well, because we all put on the mask of like being law-abiding citizens. So when you hear someone unabashedly being like, "Oh no,"
I'm not a better person than him. He's definitely like in so many ways a better server of humanity, and it's not a judgment, but I literally cannot steal something even from like a CVS because I just think of someone getting in trouble. You know, not like, oh, you steal from Walmart and like fuck Walmart. It's like, no, like the person who does inventory is fucked, the person who runs security is fucked, the person who does this,
oh, don't
or
make
like
me feel bad.
like, you know what I mean? Like the karma is like hits so much closer to home. It's like, okay, you got away with stealing that soda, or the woman didn't checked you out and didn't scan that thing, but now her cash register is like, you know, $20 short. It's like one of those things I can't live with because my mind is too capable of like playing out the scenario of what's happening next, and I'm like, all right, well, I leave there, and now her cash register is short, and now she's maybe getting fired, and I'm like, all right.
You're too conscious. Yeah, it's a very unconscious behavior. Where you're not thinking about all that stuff when you're stealing.
Yeah, I guess not.
No, it's
because if you were, you wouldn't do it because it's just too much.
There's so many things that if you were more conscious about it, you wouldn't do.
Right.
Stealing is one of them, and it's funny because like he's telling all these stories the other night. And of course, I was involved with a lot of those stories. And I'm telling him, like, hey, man, it's already balanced. Like, I've been robbed so many times. I've been robbed for more things than I ever stole.
Right.
And
And literally, some of the things that you stole were stolen back from
Yeah.
you. Not from that same person, but like someone else stole that thing that you had stolen.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's too funny.
But now that I'm more conscious, I wouldn't do that. Now that I'm more conscious, and we never talk about this, I can't eat animals. I can't do it.
Talk about being lost in the sauce. When I was deep in the sauce of an ayahuasca trip.
Like, you're just fucking in there.
Yeah, way in there.
Just down in the shadows, like going around in the deep subconscious.
Do you know what she said to me, though?
Who's she?
I don't know, Mother Ayahuasca, whatever.
Gaia?
Gaia.
God.
You know, a female god energy.
What'd she say?
She said, fucking proselytize the shit out of being vegan. And at the time, this was like probably about a year ago, I was like...
You're like, sorry, not doing it.
I'm just like, I don't know if I can do that. Like, I appreciate that, and like I just have to like really sit with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sat with it for a year, and I'll say it on this podcast, and I'll probably just be more forward about it, because I
if someone has this on their podcast, we'll say it too.
I think,
that'll help.
Look, I'll say this. Like, I have lived long enough to know that I'm not doing life better than other people, and that I'm not better than anyone else. And when I say things that are like, oh, you should do this or you should do this, like, life corrects, and it makes me hesitant to like get on a high horse, because as soon as you do, you fucking get your knees chopped off, and you get like incredibly humbled. So it's like created this energy for me where I'm a little more hesitant around, you know, when there's like an ego game or whatever the fuck.
You just don't want to write a prescription for somebody. You're not the type. We're not those people.
That said, all y'all motherfuckers who are eating animals and don't need to be, and don't think it's like aligned with your body, like, fucking stop eating animals. Like, I'm just saying it because if you need to hear this, and for some reason you need to hear it from me, you're going to hear it from me. Like, stop eating animals. Like, it's not that hard. It's actually really easy in 2020 to not eat animals and eat, you know, lentils and beans and rice and vegetables. And we're at this place where it's like the cost is so great, and like the karma is so great, and like the pain is so great. Like, you know, talking to people who have chickens that like still eat Chinese chicken, I'm like, dude, stop. You know what I mean? Like, stop, because you see these pigs that cuddle and these cows that love, and the capacity of animals to feel so much emotion and love for each other, and like their babies and their mamas, and there's just like so much interconnectedness and love. And it's like how we treat our animals is like so cruel in this country,
in this world.
And it's like the least we could do, you know what I mean? And I'll say that I've been vegan now for like 6-7 years, and I don't think about meat ever. I think I'm healthier than ever. I have energy. I don't feel like I don't have protein or whatever the hell. Like, there's tons of protein in broccoli. There's tons of protein in beans. Like, it causes you to be more creative and like, yo, create your own prescription for yourself. Okay, I'm in Spain, or I'm doing this, or I'm at my parents for Thanksgiving. Cool. Justify however you need. But like, generally, we should like all cut the shit. Mm-hmm. And if you're at this point in the podcast and this is a message you need to hear, like, please receive it, because it's a message that I was told is like in a deep state of being lost in the sauce. Like, yo, you should share this message, and you should like not hesitate to share this message.
You did hesitate for a year.
And I hesitated for a year, and I don't think that I think there's things that people should be telling me to do that I'm not doing, you know? Like, we need to support people in our world better, not just the animals. And I know that I like have a lot of work to do to be a better human. And I'm not going to say that I don't, but I will say that the message that I've received is like, yo, tell other people, tell your people, get your people.
Yeah.
Check your people. And that's all I want to do is like, I'm just saying like, hey, here's a check, fucking go vegan. Don't be a brat about it.
fucking sacred download right there.
I don't know. I don't think I have the answers. I just
That was my first ever mushroom trip was that.
yeah.
It was some spirit, and I wasn't a spiritual person, telling me cut the shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. Well, I mean, I guess that's something that I could do, and it might be a bummer for a second, but it really wasn't. It really wasn't. I don't regret for a second being plant-based. I think it makes it easier to meditate, and it makes me more connected to spirit. It feels like there's less layers to puncture through to find spirit again.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's where vegan kind of has a nasty name, but like plant-based.
That's why I always say plant-based.
Yeah.
Like, vegan sounds like a cult.
It sounds like a lifestyle, or like, oh, are you vegan? It's like, no, like, just let's eat plants. Let's eat plants. Let's get together, make some commitments to like eat less meat, eat more plants, you know?
Yeah. The type of turnaround that we need to do to save this planet, this is like a many generations project. And I feel like it starts with our own behavior, because if we can get that in our collective muscle memory, like, oh, we don't do that. We're not consuming on that level. That's off the table. We at least have some chance to think clearly about this, because I think it's kind of like what you were saying about stealing. It's like if you become conscious about one thing, you start to be conscious about everything. You start being conscious about what you're putting in your body, and then you start to say, well, I should exercise, or I should get real proper sleep every night, or I should fucking cool it on smoking tobacco, or whatever.
Yeah. No, it's like the vices balance out, but it feels like, yeah, I mean, I think fair trade is really important. I think paying people a living wage is really important, and I don't think there is such a thing as ethical consumption, you know? So by consuming plants, you're not an ethical consumer by any means, you know? But we definitely need to figure this out, and part of like we're coming up on an election, and I don't know how you feel about this, but I do feel like we do vote with our consumer choices.
Oh, that's much more powerful than what you do at this fucking polling place.
But I've seen it. I've seen over the last 20 years, like, that you can go to a Walmart anywhere and get vegan options. You can, you know, like, what's available to people is because people are saying, hey, the Impossible Whopper at Burger King.
It's a miracle.
It's a fucking miracle.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we could get to a place where this many animals aren't being slaughtered on a daily basis, where this much water isn't consumed, and we can, like, I think it just feels like a level we need to get to so that we can then say, like, oh, this is a slippery slope of more conscientious consuming. You know, the slippery slope of like, okay, yeah, we stopped eating all the animals, but like, look how the people who are like picking the lettuce are being treated.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, okay, yes, like we need to like get to that place where we can have that conversation and not say like, well, you know, plants isn't good either. It's like, yeah, no shit. That's all fucking, yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm being annoying, but I'm just going to stop.
You're not being annoying. I don't think it's annoying at all. And like, for me personally, it came down to, I felt fucking like shit all the time my whole life. And it probably had to do with anxiety, but going plant-based, and like really more for me, it was probably more like dairy.
Yeah.
Like, but cutting all that stuff out, I just don't feel like shit anymore. Like, I'm like, oh, I feel like a tuning fork.
Yeah.
I feel like a better receiver, a better listener, like, because I'm not preoccupied with like, I kind of feel like shit right now. Oh, what did I eat? Oh God, it's just like not sitting well.
Yeah, it's funny. I've had some crazy experiences with you lately, and like within the last couple of years, where like we'll be lying in bed and I'll be like really just having a rough time with something, you know, maybe physically, or, you know, my skin, or fucking whatever. And I'll just like, you'll just like put your hands on me, and like, you're like it's almost like a channel opens up and you start to say things to me. And it's made me realize, like, I think you're really special, and I think you're really powerful as an individual. And I think like you have done a lot of work to try to like tap into your power, but I don't think you're unique at the same time.
No, not at all.
With like the capacity that we all have as individuals to like be able to like create the space for listening and then listen and then heal the people in our lives. You know, the
Yeah.
willing people, you know, you don't have to go to some special healer or pay someone a few $100. Like if you have someone who like will share that space with you
You have to trust them.
and that you can trust, and also trust to like hear, because also it's like partly it's like you say a lot of things and then like I hear what really resonates and then I kind of listen to those things even deeper.
Yeah.
I don't know, what is it like for you when we do that kind of stuff
It's
together?
nothing. It's nothing. Like when we've done that, and you do it to me, but like I'll have a headache and you'll come in and heal it.
Mm.
It's not usually with words, but like sometimes you'll just I don't know. It's not something we have planned for it a couple times, but it's usually something that happens spontaneously, and it's when everything is like very calmed down,
Yeah, like
quiet, and
like no agenda.
no agenda. I don't have an agenda because I know you know how to look out for you better than anything. But if you're really struggling, and I'll put my hands on you, I even say, and I've said this every time this has happened, like these words aren't even mine. These aren't even the type of words I would use.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like a message from you, from your body through me, that maybe like you can't understand for some reason, but hearing it from me helps you understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's usually pretty simple stuff. I mean, the most profound channelings I've had having to do with you are like that you're okay, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some other stuff where it's like, oh, you need to do this and you need to do that. You need to eat more of this or cut this out or whatever. But to me, the ones that have left us both in tears are just the ones where it's like, you're already healing. You're
Yeah.
already healed.
Yeah.
You're in your head about it. You need to just occupy the space where you're already healed. Like, and you were. So it wasn't. It's not like anyone can't do it. You just got to let go. But I know
Yeah.
that's happening when I feel like these words aren't even mine.
Yeah, like you don't even feel like you need to tell me anything.
I don't even know what I could have said.
Right.
Yeah. It's cool.
Yeah.
It's cool. That sounds pretty far out. I know that can sound pretty far out.
Yeah, but I guess. And it feels pretty far out when it happens, you know, because it really does feel like we're kind of occupying a higher state together, you know?
Well, I learned it from our sexuality.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Like I just learned and cared to listen to your body in a way to please you.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing has some longevity.
Right.
So we can have fun in our young bodies.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just wanted to like learn how to work with you. So I would like really, really learn to listen to your body and be patient and just slow everything down. And now we're doing this other cool stuff with it. But it definitely came from sexuality and learning to listen and breathe.
Yeah. This seems so important to like slow down and listen, because like you think that there's so much coming at us all the time that you think that if you slow down you're going to be bored, but like when you slow down it's kind of like can clean the lens and like see what's actually going on, and there's so much going on.
Oh, there's so much more than you could realize.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're so utterly distracted. And when you kind of fight through it, I don't even think people are scared they're going to be bored. I think they're scared they're going to be scared.
Yeah. Yeah, that feels true.
Like you're scared that if things slow down, you're going to have to deal with some of the things that you're keeping at bay by revving the engines all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like the state I've been in lately. It concerned me at first. I'm like, whoa, what's up with me? I'm just kind of like, whatever, neither here nor there. That's a bad way of describing it, but just kind of.
Yeah, I've known you for like 11 years now, and I think your energy, you're used to running a little hotter, like a little more like I don't want to say judgmental, but like it's like a little more clear with your vision. Like your vision's always very strong. Like this is what we're supposed to be doing, this is how we're supposed to be, this is what we're supposed to be, like what the next step is, and this is the film we need to be making, and this is the schedule we need to be laying out. And I think right now, maybe in the context of everything that's going on, it feels kind of like we're in this cosmic stew, and you're just like, all
The
right.
ingredients keep coming our way.
Yeah.
And I think the work we're doing now is a little different than like the project based work we've done in the past.
Yeah.
So there's not necessarily a beginning and an end to building community.
Right.
There's not a beginning and an end and a peak in the middle of spreading a network of love where we just make sure we got each other's backs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's just being. So I think the way I'm feeling is like a symptom of kind of getting there a little bit. It doesn't feel like, you know how we've like throughout our relationship, it's like first there was a mountain, then there was no mountain, then there was. Like that.
Like Donovan.
Yeah, that's that. But that's from some Buddhist text.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and Donovan just made a song out of it. But
It's a really nice song.
yeah, it's hard to say right now. I'm like, am I at the top of the mountain or the bottom one? Or like, what's really going on? And that can disturb my being because I'm used to pushing off of something.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, it doesn't really feel like it feels mellow. It feels like there's nothing to really push off of or anything like that. It doesn't. I don't feel motivated by ego or ambition or like, oh, I need to accomplish something or prove something in this realm or that. Like, I just think it's become more about like being.
Yeah.
And it feels like more than ever, like I'm bearing witness to my life than like being the player in the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I relate to that. And it's so funny because it's kind of the most comfortable way of being, you know?
Yeah.
And it's only really come with like time and experience, which seem to be the greatest teachers.
Yeah.
You know, within relationship, outside of relationship, because obviously like this relationship's grown over the last decade, but I've grown as over the last decade, and a lot of it has to do with like there's no shortcut to it. You kind of just have to like experience things and experience things and experience things and go through things and go through things and go through things and realize like you do stabilize and you will stabilize, and this stuff that feels really big or really painful or really scary, like the moments where it felt like we were losing each other's love, is like so terrifying.
Yeah.
You know, but then when you ride that wave and you're like, wow, we just thought we were losing each other's love and we're still in love. It's like, okay, now there's a little more spaciousness for me to like not be so attached to you.
Yeah.
You know, or so clinging to this relationship. And with that spaciousness and without the doing and just like the being within our relationship, I think it's allowed our relationship to take like more fun, interesting turns.
Yeah.
And that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think kind of like our relationship, like how it's like there's a commitment there. And commitment really helps be a driving force in your life. And I know I have a commitment to directing movies and television. I know I have a commitment to making films and making podcasts and making art, but also just getting good at things. And yeah, it feels like the spaciousness to do that has arrived. And I don't have to do what I've always done.
Mm-hmm. And that's like the gift of like, we're coming up on, I mean, if you live in a colder climate, you're coming up on some time where it's like, you are going to be more alone, you know, like as important as relationship and friendships are, the ability to enjoy those is like, you know, not going to be as often, because the most mature, wise thing is to make sure that you help our global world deal with this pandemic by not being a super spreader. You know what I mean? Or creating super spreader events, or just, you know, being mindful of everyone and yourself and your own health. And
once this pandemic stops, don't be a super spreader of consumption. Don't throw fucking like there are.
Well, I'm saying now's not a time to be a super spreader of consumption, because like, yeah, you could fill your days up with Netflix for the rest of this pandemic, and I'm sure we'll do our fair share, but it's like, what are we all going to create this winter? You know, what
That's important.
Yeah.
This is probably the most important thing we've said in this whole podcast.
Yeah, and this is an important time for us, like what I'm saying about how I've come to like accept myself better because I've come to love everyone and everything better, and I've come to like realize that judging myself is such a waste of time. Now that I'm like, oh, I don't want to judge myself, I'm like, well, I want to see what I can create. And not only do I want to see what I can create, I want to see what everyone can create.
What we can do.
What we can do together and individually. And so devoting our time and our effort and our energy towards creating is so valuable right now. And it's so you're not doing it on your own. When you do create, you're creating with everyone who's come before you. You're creating with your divine alignment. You're creating with the people in your life. You're creating with everything. So it's like you don't have to like feel the weight of the world on what comes out of your, you know, when you diddle on the guitar or
doodle on the page
or doodle or write something or paint something or podcast, you know, like it's most important that we just don't feed the blocks and just keep it moving like we do. You know, this is the podcast of keeping it moving.
Move the energy.
Moving the energy.
You like that?
Move the energy. It's pretty good. We've been doing this very botanical blend.
What's in this?
Okay. Lavender, rose petals, chamomile, marshmallow, spearmint, a little tobacco.
A lot of weed.
A lot of weed.
Keeps me connected.
So connected. This has been a fun time.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Let me listen. Let me listen and let me think.
Listen to the guides.
I don't know. I feel like this flowed surprisingly. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, considering now, because it's like it's gonna start getting dark here at 4:30 in the afternoon on Sunday.
Yeah.
We're fucking really chasing the light. So the amount of setup that went into this, of us fucking moving our furniture around to be in front of a window, and
yeah. This is a good time to say, if you're listening on Spotify or SoundCloud or iTunes, you can watch us on YouTube. All future episodes will be and have been video recorded, so you can really feel like you're hanging out with us. We're kind of trying to get more into more of a hang vibe, you know?
I hate to say that YouTube is the best place to get this podcast.
I don't know. We might explore Twitch or something.
Yeah.
We might explore other things, but we want to hold a vibe.
Yeah.
And share a vibe, and we're still figuring out what all that means.
Yeah.
And so thanks for joining us on this journey, this continued journey. We appreciate, especially on YouTube, if you like or subscribe or leave a comment. That's really fun.
YouTube just fucking demonetized our asses.
We got a whole month of being monetized, and then they reviewed our account and probably saw that all our tags are like, whatever. We talk about stuff that isn't
We're
like
being
commercial.
Yeah. Basically, they were like, y'all's content, even though barely anyone is listening, it doesn't really suit our advertisers' needs.
That's fair. Honestly, I'm kind of grateful. I fucking hate ads.
Fuck
and
'em.
I'm fucking glad
Fuck
to not
'em.
have them, and I think we just had to explore that possibility.
We need to make money.
Because we need to make money.
We need to fucking make money at some point.
And we're compelled to continue doing a podcast, and if it could maybe one day be what we do and what sustains us, that would be awesome, but it's obviously not required for us to keep doing it.
No.
But
well, that's why we have Ganesha out.
The remover of obstacles.
Well, also the creator.
And
so
the
who
creator.
knows if this is Ganesha's doing, but I trust. I'll just trust in it.
Yeah, and we're almost too freaked by like we'll put out requests or prayers on this podcast, and people are really, it's almost like we gotta like, we're in the sauce right now. We put out a call for like maybe we need a house, and someone wrote us, and I was like, oh my god, that was premature, like I'm not even ready, you know what I mean? So I think we're trying to be mindful of what we even call for. But right now I think what we're calling for is like we really appreciate anyone who wants to support our Patreon, because that's the humble beginning of the Church of Chill, where we release a radio show. We have one coming out today.
Yeah, there's like these 1.5 hour long little radio show mixes that we do.
Yeah, there's
Church of Chill, but Church of Chill is a way bigger thing than that.
Totally.
I think that's our destiny that's slowly crystallizing before our eyes.
Totally.
It's totally like the umbrella for like the community building we want to do, and the reminding people to chill again and how to do that.
Totally. And if you get on our Patreon, you also join our online community, the Church of Chill Discord, which is fucking dope. And
oh my God, it's worth it just for that, because our Discord, there's no set price, or our Patreon, there's no set price. Just pay whatever. We don't care.
If you pay whatever, you get access
we just
to the
literally
Discord.
have to hide this radio show behind a paywall so it doesn't get torn down.
And if for some reason you're really opposed to like sending us a little money every month, you can reach out individually. We'll get you in the community.
But support us and then get on this Discord, because that seems like that's like the embers of the community.
Yeah, it's like we're at the very humble beginnings, and it's so awesome everyone who's there, and because everyone's super cool and sharing super cool ideas, and so we're just gonna keep seeing where this goes.
I mean, we have a vision of artists making art together and facilitating spaces for that to happen, and
so make
inspiring each other.
Make art this winter and share it with us.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. This is a Very A podcast. We're Sean and Cass.
We love you.
Peace and love.
Peace and love.
Smoke one.
Lost in the sauce. We said that a lot this episode.
Yeah.